Okay, this is a personal financial statement. It's going to start with a couple pages here, a couple questions. Don't worry about those. You do not have to answer them. If you'd like to, though, you can answer just by clicking 7A or 504 loan. When you get down to here, so you're going to put your name. Now, if you are married and even if you are not going to be both guaranteeing the loan, we're going to need both of your information and both of you to sign these. If you own anything separate or not going to guarantee the loan together and you own things separate, you can um, just leave a spouse off, but it's usually a good idea to just list everything together. So you could put your names here, phone numbers, address, business name, or borrower. So again, if you are forming an entity and you haven't yet done so, you could just put ETBF or entity to be formed. You could put the address here. Both of these aren't extremely important. So if you don't know yet what that's going to be, you could put TBD. Business type, you would mark what's appropriate here. If you know what you're going to form, if you haven't formed anything yet, you can go ahead and leave that blank. And then you would put your date here of when you had filled this information out. You could put women-owned service business applicant only. You could mark married, yes or no. It does not affect the application or the approval likelihood, so don't worry about it too much there. So now coming down here to the assets and liabilities. Now, some of these can be fairly confusing, so try to follow along. If you need help with any of this, let us know. Some of these are fairly self-explanatory, but this would be your cash on hand. So you would look at your checking accounts in your name personally. This is not business cash. This would be any cash that you have in your checking or bank accounts. Savings account you could put here as well. Now, one thing that we are seeing quite a bit of on cryptocurrency, you can put that as other assets and then mark it on the next couple pages as other. You can also put it here as savings account. We will count it for the most part towards cash. So you do have the ability to list that there as savings. IRA or other retirement. So this would be your IRAs or your 401ks. Accounts and notes receivable. This would be if you basically loaned money to somebody and you're waiting to get it back, or maybe you had a receivable from a legal settlement or some judgment or something like that. You would list the total amount here. Now, life insurance, this is the cash surrender value only. So this is not the face value of your life insurance policy. This would only be if you have cash surrender value on a life insurance policy. If you do have cash surrender value on a life insurance policy, you would put the actual cash value here. So again, this is not the life insurance that you have in the face value of the life insurance. Stocks and bonds, this would be anything that is publicly traded or that you could easily sell and get cash for quickly. You would list that here, the total balance. Real estate, so this would be your total real estate values. So if you own a primary residence and also an investment property, one's worth $1 million, the next one is 500, you would put 1.5 million for the total value of the real estate. Same thing with autos. Any autos you own, you would put the total value of them. Personal property, so this could be jewelry, artwork, furniture, stuff like that. You can leave just kind of an estimated value here. If it's something that is, very valuable or rare or kind of easy to track the value, definitely list it here. And then you'd put the description in section 5, which we will get to those sections. Other assets, you could put your ownership in other businesses or anything that kind of doesn't fall into here, you could list here as well. Accounts payable, so this would be typically anything that you've got currently payable. So if there's a bill or something that you're behind on, you would, or is due, you would list it here. Notes payable to banks and others, you could put here if you have any just kind of regular loans that maybe aren't described elsewhere. and then you can describe it in section 2. Installment account for auto. So you're going to put the total balance of all of your car loans here, and then the total balance of the monthly payments each month. So if you have 2 or 3 vehicles, you would put the total amount owed here combined, and then the total monthly payments combined as well. Same thing if you've got any other installment accounts. So maybe you have a loan for, I don't know, furniture or RV or a boat or something, you would list that here and then put the monthly payment. Now, if you have cash value life insurance, going back to this section, you would put any debt that you've borrowed against that cash value life insurance. You'd put the principal balance here. Mortgages on real estate, this is going to be the combined mortgages. So again, if you've got 2 properties, you would list all of the combined mortgages here. That would also include home equity lines of credit. Those are mortgages. So you want to put the total outstanding balance of all of your mortgage loans here. If you have any unpaid taxes, now this would be if you're behind on taxes, not if you are about to file taxes and you're estimating what's owed. This would be if you're behind on anything that's been unpaid, you'd mark it here. Any other liabilities, maybe there's something else that needs to be described that's not here, you can list that here as well. You could put your credit card balances here. You could also put credit card balances in accounts payable or notes payable as well. You just want to typically put the total amount and then describe it. One thing I forgot here, you're going to add all of these up here to your total assets. Then you would add up all of these outstanding balances here as total liabilities. You're going to subtract the total liabilities from the total assets, and that would determine your net worth. This would equal the total amount here, or these 2 combined should equal this amount. Now, this is important here for your salary. If you are buying a business, you want to put the salary that will continue after buying the business and not including any salary that you would pull from the business you are buying. So if you are keeping a job, if you have other income, if you have a spouse who is going to be on the loan that has a salary, you would put that amount here. Do not put the amount that is going to go away if you're quitting your job to buy the business, or any salary that you are planning to include from the business you are buying. The rest of these are fairly self-explanatory. So investment income, if you've got income from any investments. Real estate income, you would put the net income that you are receiving from rentals after expenses. Any other income, if you have disability, if you've got Social Security, if you've got any kind of outside income, you would list here. Stuff here is pretty self-explanatory. So if you've got any legal claims, judgments, any federal tax, any special debt, you would mark here. We don't see these a lot. Description of other income. So if you fill out this portion here, then list what it is here. So if you are getting a VA retirement, you would put here what it is, and then also list the dollar amount. Could also be for child support here as well. You'd want to list what you are collecting and where it's coming from. Scrolling down further, so notes payable to banks and others. If you filled out the section above that is showing that you have notes payable to a bank, you'd want to list it here. So you could put the name of the lender, the original balance, current balance, monthly payment, how frequently it is, typically monthly, and what it's secured by. This would not be a section for any mortgages. Up here, if you'd like to list a home equity line separate, since it's hard to list it down here, you can list it here. But this would be for any debts that are not represented on the other section that need to be explained. Feel free to include, auto, boat, anything like that as well. If you have solar or anything, you'd include that here. So stocks and bonds. This is not as important to be very detailed here. You could put, E-Trade, and then the total value here. It's not a big deal. You do not have to list each stock. We typically are going to get a statement for the normal balance for those. So it's not very important for you to fill all of this in. But if you could break it down, kind of an easy way for us, that would be great. This is a reference to the property. So like I said before, you're going to list the total values and then total debts for all of your properties. This is where you would fill in for each property. Obviously, if you only have one property, then you're only going to list the one property here. But you would put the type of real estate. So if it is for a mortgage on a residential property that's your primary residence, you would just type in primary residence. You could put home, something that describes it. Put the address, the date purchased, original cost, your best guess on the present market value. So typically if you use Zillow or Redfin, you'd put the market value here. You could put, you don't have to really put the name and address of the mortgage holder, but you could put the lender. So if it's Bank of America, you just put Bank of America. Put the mortgage balance. So this is the outstanding balance for the loan currently, and then the amount of payment per month. So you would want to list the amount that is included here for each month that you're paying, and then the status, which hopefully is current. So you would do that for each one separately. Other personal property or assets, you can list anything here that you maybe had added together on the first page. A lot of times we'll see, maybe a boat, equipment, furniture, anything like that can be listed here. Unpaid taxes. So this would be if you are behind on any taxes, please list them here. Other liabilities. This would be anything that is not easily represented on the first page or second page, and you wanted to list it in detail here. That would be a good place to do it. Life insurance. So this would be if you have cash value life insurance, again, you'd want to list it here with the cash value. Definitely read through here, make sure you're certifying it properly. If you have a spouse, we need both of you on this form, both of you to sign it, and that would be it.